Hey everyone, what's going on? Welcome back. In this video we're going to talk about Bitcoin pricing, basically how it's priced and what changes its price. Now these are two things that you gotta know because it helps you to predict the future better. Now in future modules we're going to get into details of these things, but right now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to drop a layout for you so you know exactly how these things work. Okay, now again guys, when we get to the trading we're going to dive into more details. You're going to learn every single detail about these things, but I'm just going to drop some layout so you see exactly what affects the price of Bitcoin or any other cryptocurrency. It doesn't matter if you're doing trying to sell Litecoin, buy Litecoins or Ethereum, anything, Ripples, anything out there, doesn't matter. It follows the same rule. Now another thing is that guys, the layout I'm going to explain is going to work for any other currency out there. Okay, as I said, I'm going to use Bitcoin as an example, but it works for any other currency out there. Okay, so it doesn't matter what kind of cryptocurrency we're talking about. So first of all, let me explain how it's priced. Now when the cryptocurrency for the first time, when it's released, or they call it initial coin offering or ICO, the community that created the coin or the cryptocurrency offers a price. Now that's where they set the price. So for example, let's say they start with 20 cents. Okay, so that's the price of the currency, 20 cents. So that's 20. Okay, now when they release this, a lot of people are going to buy, right? So as people buy, the volume of the market is going to go up. It means that more people are going to buy the value, more people are going to hold it. So when more people hold it, the price of it is going to go up, because what's happening is that people are going to bid more as the holding is going to go up. For example, when people see that it's 20 cents, when people see that a lot of people own it, they're going to be interested, so they're going to bid. Now this is the important thing, bid. Okay, they're going to bid higher. So for example, if it's 20 cents, they're going to bid 21 cents. So when they do that, this is going to drive the price up. When they bid 21 cents, the price becomes 21, and then they bid higher, it's going to be 22. So this is how the price goes down. Now this is the basics of the pricing. Now let me explain what changes the price. Okay, so what makes the price to go up and down, because this part is really important. Because cryptocurrency world, since it's not real money, a lot of things play a big role. A lot of things that when it comes to real money, they don't really play a big role. But in cryptocurrency, because it's such a new thing, and because it's such a small market, compared to real money, that's what we're comparing it to, things are really volatile. Now I want you to say it like this. Let's imagine Bitcoin is a small pool. Okay, so when you jump into that small pool, super small, the water, you're gonna get water all over the place. You're gonna displace a lot of water, and the water is gonna come down in the pool because you displaced a lot of water. Water is going out there. So there's less water when you waste that water when you jump into that pool, right? So it's volatile. The water goes up and down, so it's volatile. But now, compare that small pool to an ocean. Now ocean can be real money, like US dollar. So when you jump in the ocean, you don't displace that much water, right? Because ocean is huge. So you're too small compared to the ocean. So that's the difference between currency, like digital currencies, and real money. And that's why digital currencies are really volatile, because the market is so small at this point that big changes big changes really freak people out. So we're going to talk about that stuff more in the future, but the first thing you want to watch out for is big news. Okay, so news, you gotta always, if you want to predict the price, you need to always watch out for news. Okay, so for example, once in a while some very well-known person, maybe some financial authority, says something about Bitcoin that affects the price, or any other currency, and it doesn't matter what it is. So let's say some really well-known financial person or expert says, hey, I know the Bitcoin price is going to go down. So, and maybe a couple of other people confirm it, a couple of other people say the same thing, maybe next day or 2 days later. So what happens is that people are going to freak out, right? This is psychology. People are going to freak out, and they're going to sell the Bitcoin or their coins. So when they do that, when they sell, the volume goes down and the price goes down with it. So see, and we're going to talk about, you know, not freaking out when these things happen and how to actually use these to your advantage in future modules. But that's one of the things. That's one of the things that really affects the Bitcoin, again, because it's such a small market that when someone says something, it just creates a really crazy thing, trend. Okay, so that's the first thing. The second thing is market application. Now this is by far I think one of the most powerful things when it comes to pricing and, you know, change the price changes in Bitcoin. So let me explain what this is. Bitcoin is real money, but the problem, actually let me grab something else, there you go. The problem with Bitcoin is at this point, right, that it's being used mostly on trading. You know, people are actually using it to trade instead of using it for real world application. Okay, so for example, you could buy a laptop with Bitcoin, but people rather use real money. And you know, they use Bitcoin or other cryptocurrencies for trading, you know, making money, investment basically. Now that's why you can actually see Bitcoin as gold, not like real money. So that's how they compare it to, usually gold, not real money. So once in a while, you know, if you remember in the previous video, I showed you, you know, places that you can use Bitcoin, things that you can do with Bitcoin. You know, you can buy stuff with a Bitcoin in real life. But again, the applications of it, it's not huge at this point. But when someone, let's say Amazon, let's say right now Bitcoin is $18,000. Okay, so that's the Bitcoin price, 18K. So Amazon says, hey, we're gonna start accepting Bitcoins. So now people can actually use Bitcoins to buy stuff on Amazon. So it's becoming closer to real money, becoming real money, right? So this is going to drive up the price. This is going to drive up the price because Amazon is a huge website. Now they start accepting Bitcoin, means that Bitcoin is a strong market, it's a strong currency, right? So when that happens, the value of the currency goes up too, and the price goes up. So the application, when more new applications come to the Bitcoin market, you know, bigger companies start accepting Bitcoin, basically, the value of it goes up. Now this is the biggest thing that affects Bitcoin market. For example, back then, this was about 2 months ago, there Steam, I'm not sure if you know what Steam is a gaming marketplace. It's one of the biggest gaming marketplaces in the world. So it's a marketplace where you can buy games, you know, it's a community, you can connect to other people who play video games. Now they used to accept Bitcoins, but what happened was that they stopped accepting Bitcoins. The reason they did that was back then Bitcoin was really volatile. It was going from 16 to 20,000 and then got back down to 18,000, back down to 20,000. It was going up and down like crazy because a lot of other things were happening. So because of that, Steam, the company, or Valve, actually Valve owns the Steam, they stopped accepting Bitcoins. And because of that, it drove down the Bitcoin price because Bitcoin lost one of its functionalities. Okay, so now thousands of other companies and big companies are accepting Bitcoins, but this was a big deal and it drove down the price a little bit, not in a huge factor, but a little bit. You could actually feel that okay, this happened because of that. Okay, a couple of percent. So that's the thing, you know, market application and all that stuff affects the Bitcoin price. And for example, if Amazon right now announces, or let's say Walmart, it's a big company in the US, Walmart says that we're going to accept Bitcoin in our stores from next month. If they say that, Bitcoin price is going to go up, and because people are going to buy it. People are going to buy it because they can use it actually in store for real life, right? So it's going to drive up the price. So that's how it works, guys. That's something you gotta pay attention to. Now, the last one I'm going to talk about is supply amount. Now, this is another one that I personally believe that is going to affect Bitcoin price, specifically Bitcoin in future. So we're going to talk about max supply in next modules because it's a little bit more complicated. Because I want to show you my screen, I'm going to show you exactly, you know, like everything in detail. But let me explain something. So some of the currencies, not every digital currency, some of them have a max supply. It means that, for example, in this case, let me actually erase this. So in this case, Bitcoin, for example, Bitcoin has max supply of 21 million. So basically, the only 21 million Bitcoins can exist in the world. I don't think you can see it. But anyways, 21 million Bitcoins can exist in the world. That's the max supply, okay? Now, at this point, we are at 16,700,000, something like that. I don't know the exact number, 700, something like that, 730,000, something like that. I'm not sure about the exact, but at this point we're at this price, we're at this level, 16 million. So the maximum amount of Bitcoins that can be created is 21 million. We're at 16, and as this number gets closer to 21 million, what's going to happen is that the Bitcoin price is going, because mining it is becoming harder and harder. So as this number gets closer to the max number, which is the 21 million in this case, the price of the Bitcoin is going to go up and up. So that's one of the things that affects the pricing of cryptocurrencies. Now, let me explain. When you're going to learn more about this when we go to the altcoins, you know, in the future modules, and I'll talk about different cryptocurrencies. But you know, some currencies actually don't have a maximum limit. That's why I say that if you remember, I explained that, you know, each and every single currency has its own different technology. It has its own different way. The way it works is different. So that's why some currencies actually don't have a limit. They just have a yearly limit. Some currencies have like billions. Like, for example, I think Ethereum is at 99 billion or something like that. So again, they just work in a different ways. So if there's a limit on a currency and the limit is actually going up and it's getting closer to the max limit, max supply, the price of the currency is going to go up. Okay, so that's something that just affects the pricing in general. All right, so guys, I hope you learned something new in this video. Yeah, so these are 3 things that you gotta understand. You know, the news, what people are saying about the currency, and then market application, how people are big companies are starting to accept the currency, digital currency or not, and also the limit to the max supply. So basically, how close we are to the max supply of that currency. All right, so these are 3 things that you gotta pay attention when you want to predict the pricing and stuff. We're going to talk more about these things in future in detail. I just want to drop it here so you get a good idea of how the pricing and everything works. So thank you so much for watching this video, guys. I'll see you in the next one.